All right, and we're recording. So here we are with Jillian for another vlog about women telling their stories, all about their own healing journeys, all about finding their self-love and self-acceptance and living in a society of absolutely ridiculous beauty standards. So, hey Jillian, thank you for coming on. This is our second attempt. I appreciate the patience as I work through technology.
Just a trial run. It was good practice.
Yeah, absolutely. So how about you take a second just to kind of tell us about who you are, what you do, where you're from.
Okay, hi. My name is Jillian Rooney, living over in Connecticut, kind of in the middle of nowhere, as you can see here. I grew up my whole life overweight. I struggled with weight. I was always like the weird kid. I didn't really know where I fit, who I was, like lost sense of touch of everything. Fast forward, college years, definitely troubles with drinking and that, like, just the terrible self-destructive behavior that young 20s will do to some people. And finding myself, finding fitness, finding yoga, finding health, finding wellness, finding you. And I'm a coach and I help women through, whole body wellness. I like to call it, mind, body, spirit, nutrition, fuel. The whole thing is what needs to be healed in order to be the person you need to be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes. Awesome. So just give us like a little insight as to like the struggles that you have dealt with in the past.
Okay. So food and like binge eating and then trying my best to restrict, never really was a great restrictor. I just had such an awful relationship with food. Food was always good and bad. From a very young age, I wanted to diet and be on a diet. Like, I think I must have tried my first diet. I don't know. I must have been like 8, 9. I went vegetarian because I like heard vegetarians could be skinny.
Wow. 8 years old? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was really young, but I didn't tell my parents, like, why I was going vegetarian, but behind the scenes, this is what was the reasons. And I did. I remember I lost a little weight, and I was so proud of myself, and I had to stop being a vegetarian because my parents got sick of making me all my own food.
Mm-hmm.
But that, I guess, started this whole beautiful journey of yo-yo dieting,
Mm-hmm.
trying all sorts of crazy diets, really extreme, like low carb, like completely cut carbs out. I tried diets where you didn't eat breakfast or lunch and just ate dinner, like intermittent fasting, slim fast. I went on the slim fast diet back in the early 2000s. That was all the rage. That one, I lost a lot of weight on that one. I've tried pretty much all the diets and, I had a very unhealthy relationship with food. It was dieting and then it was overeating compulsively, feeling so sick and shameful and like I was a horrible person who had no control over something I wanted to control.
Okay. Is there anything that sticks out for you that created like this idea that you needed to be on a diet even at such a young age?
Yeah, slim is beautiful. Slim people are happy. Slim people don't have problems. I just growing up in kind of a tumultuous house, I figured, I always put the blame for everything that was wrong around me on myself. Like, Jillian, you're the problem here. Like, you fix it. And like, I guess seeing myself as that chubby little girl, I like correlated being chubby with problems for others around me, and it like became this cycle where I felt bad, so I ate to feel better and like numb the feeling bad, but then I felt bad because I was fat, and being skinny was the catalyst that would make me a happy whole person.
Mm-hmm.
But through my kind of struggles with yo-yo dieting, I did have moments where I was in shape and lean, and then moments where I was fat, and I still felt just as bad in that slim body, and that slim body was acceptable to society. That was an acceptably slim body. No one would think I was like, a fitness model, but no one would really call me fat. But
mm-hmm.
you still can have fat feelings even in a small body too, which is a weird thing. And especially if you've been through the roller coaster, you especially know how that can be.
Well, that's exactly why they say that diets don't work, is because people never take on like the skinnier mindset. It's always like the fat mindset. Exactly why it's just so important to work on that mind first. And that's where just so many like the fitness industry really misses that mindset. Like it's just all about like how you look. It's never about how you feel, and that is the most important part, is how you feel, because I hope that we eventually see this happening in our magazines and everything, that people stop talking about the way women looks, but how a woman feels. Or a doctor starts to even ask that, because I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman who has more of a shape, or is bigger in her body, because if she feels good, if she has positive energy, in a decent amount of good energy, because we're all up and down always.
Yes.
But if she can maintain a decent energy level, I think that's what matters. And it's like we're never asking that. No one ever asks, how do you feel? Ever.
No.
And it's exactly why diets don't work.
No, you're so right. And you touched on so many points there. And it reminded me, it's why diets won't fix you, because if you have these unhealthy relationships with food, anytime things get a little rough, you will not have the willpower to stick to that diet. You can't self-enforce this on you. Food is not it's not like AA. It's not a narcotic. You can't say, I'm never touching food again because I binge on my Cheetos. You have to have food around you. You have to have food in your life. You're going to go to events where food that trigger you will be there. It's not something you get to just shut your eyes off to. So diets don't work because they're not dealing with the reason you're using food. And using food might also mean not using it at all. You say no food because, food does this to me, so I don't eat. Or then you eat everything because it helps. Both are numbing and deflecting what's really going on. And until you can change the mindset of what's going on, it can't be fixed.
Yeah. Did you ever talk to anybody about your feelings with your body and just feeling overweight or underweight? Or do you also feel maybe like you were surrounded by other girls in school who also had the same mindset as you? So you're just kind of feeding off each other, or even parents or anybody?
Yeah. So unfortunately, my mom had a difficult relationship with food. And so I definitely mirrored her relationship with it. And that's not easy because she still struggles with it. And it's hard for me to watch and see. And no, it's not her fault. It's not anything she did wrong. It's a whole big system at play here. And then I've had all sorts of friends with all sorts of food problems. And I've always been the friend who's I talk about my problems, somewhat, I'm not in the closet. So I've had, communities of women where I feel, that we can talk. I guess maybe later so in life, as we age a little bit. It's so funny growing up. I don't know if because I was from kind of an upper middle class white area, but I had a lot of anorexic friends, and I always had really skinny friends, and I almost had the opposite friends. And this is something that's just kind of I'm remembering with you on the phone now, and I wonder, did I choose them? Did we choose? Why was that? Or was I just in skinny white girl land and everyone was trying to be the skinniest white girl they could be? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not even sure where this skinny mindset even came to be, on why skinny is the new beautiful. Even you ever hear about how back in Victorian times that the bigger you were, that meant that you were that meant that you were richer, because you didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So I'm just so curious. I'm gonna have to look this up on when that shift even took place.
Well, Oh, like, who was it? Twiggy in the 60s had a profound effect on this industry and the market because she was Twiggy. She was super small and like that was no boobs, androgynous kind of look. And that when that took over the fashion industry, that changed a whole lot of shit. And it's weird that we want women, and like this is starting to change with the Kim Kardashians and the Nicki Minaj's of the world,
Yes.
like, because we for a while were wanting women who had no boob, no butt, they were slim, and now we want you to have perfect boobs, perfect ass, little bitty waist, round thing in your face, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's changing again, and it always changes. So that's a beautiful thing because we can change it again and say, Nicki Minaj looks great and Twiggy looks great, and you know, some of these I'm gonna get, I don't know all the plus size models, but there's that beautiful one, Ashley something, I love her, I don't know her last name, but she was on Sports Illustrated, she's beautiful. Like, let's start
I know who you're talking about. Yes, yeah, like we can just be beautiful for exactly who we are. And as I said earlier, as long as you feel good, as long as you're like, you know, just like love and peace, and you know, you are radiating like the majority of the time positive energy, that's what matters. That is key. And you know, even like, so just to tell you briefly about where I come from, I was always really, really skinny, just like naturally. And I had a really hard time with my body for being really skinny like that. But so then I started to work out just so I could like have curves. So I always worked really hard to have like those curves, but I was never happy in doing that, you know? So now I just like have learned to just love and accept who I am. And like, maybe I'm never going to have the Kim K booty, but it is what it is because I feel good, you know, and I can finally just be like, you know, fuck your beauty standards, fuck what anybody else thinks. I feel good with who I am, and that's when it all shifts, truly.
And you can fall in love with the way another woman likes, that's fine, but you can't want to kind of imprint that on yourself. We're all working against a certain set of genetics. Like, I always had larger hips and this and that. And like when I was struggling with weight, my ideal was like, I wanted to be super duper model skinny. And eventually I let go of that. I was like, Jillian, you are never going to be supermodel skinny. You look like a mom, and you're going to have mom hips the rest of your life. And I love them, like, you know, and they're in now. So
yeah. Yeah. What I like to tell everybody is that what you wish you didn't have, somebody else would love to have that. So that's like huge. I tell this to everybody. Like, just remember that there's somebody who would love to have what you have, for sure.
Always.
So let's touch on that. Let's touch on you being a mom. So, would you like your like kind of obsessiveness with wanting to be really skinny, and then you became a mom, like you got pregnant. How did that affect you? Like, because your body grows, you change.
Yeah, I was like, I probably maybe coinciding, like when I got married, when I got pregnant, I was trying to like love myself, and like I was actively putting into work, like, okay, like I have been dieting and like billering myself down for so long, like what can I do to try to accept that, all while calorie counting still. So but I was like trying to kind of embrace it. So I was like in this like weird realm between like body acceptance, loving where I am, who I am, but then also controlling everything that went into my body. So like I let myself eat what I wanted and what I needed, but I tracked it, like in my FitPal, like it was in there, like, you know, a whole bag of goldfish down the hatch. And I gained just a perfect 2 pounds a week because I think it was so manipulated. I think I would have really given into my binge eating if I hadn't been accountable. I really would have. I would have let pregnancy take me over and like gained 100 pounds, like, and been like, it's a free for all. So I am like, I still totally embrace macro counting. I think that you need to have a knowledge of nutrition in some way, and it's just a way to help people get it, because if you don't understand nutrition at all, and you just try to feed your body intuitively, I don't know if there's gonna be success. Food is something we spend a lot of our time doing, you deserve to be informed about your food and where it's from and what your plate should look like, at the very least. And it's up to you to learn that, because they don't teach you in school, but they should. That's a tangent. So, but I was okay with my pregnant body. And because I had been much heavier, and I wasn't going to go over my heaviest weight, because I tracked it all in Excel and had a sheet of how much weight I would gain every week by pregnancy, and that's exactly what my body did. I knew I was never going to be fatter than my fattest weight, so I was like, well, I've lost all that before, and some of this will be a baby, so it'll be okay.
Yeah. And so after you had the baby, because, you know, like out there still to this day is this, like this incessant need to lose that body weight, to get back into your pre-pregnancy pants as soon as possible. So how did you deal with that? Like, did that trigger you?
That was really hard. I had been active on Instagram just as like a kind of lurker follower of a lot of bounce back women, and just women who had six-pack abs and were like killing it in the gym after, and like talking about peeing themselves and like getting no sleep and doing this. And I was like, oh, that has to be me. Like, that sounds the worst. And like, I was hit with like postpartum depression. There's no way that was going to have happened for me, like as badly as I wanted it. And maybe it contributed a little bit to my postpartum depression just because I was so miserable with the way I looked. I don't know. I didn't give a fuck. I like couldn't care, you know. I started working out again when I could, because I knew that it was my medicine. Like, movement is what helps me through my anxiety and depression. So that is why I did it. And it was 10 minutes a day, as much as I could, you know, get through. And it took a year and a half before I got physically back to where it felt good. And I was prepared for that. And I was prepared for that, and it even felt like, thankfully, postpartum depression experience, that all led to like a serious renewal and rebirth, and like finally figuring out my issues with food, finally signing up with you, like just a shot in the dark, but clearly exactly what I needed. Like, I was a health coach when I came out to you. I had clients I was teaching. I was still struggling.
I was shocked when you signed up for my program. I was like, what? She's a coach herself. She wants to be in my program? I was like, wow, all right.
But, you know, like, you never know when you're going to speak to someone and who you can connect with. And like, you always need a mentor. You always do. Like, that's what anyone who's ever done anything will teach you, you know? So like, and I did, and I got you, and look at this.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I honestly, you've come so far, because I never would have guessed that you had any sort of issues with eating. And I only reached out to you because I saw a post once that you talked about your binge eating, and I was like, whoa, really? Because I see you post all the time. Like, you fully acknowledge like the mom pouch that like never really will ever go away. Like, you embrace it, you show it off, you are like, this is who I am. So you seriously have come such a long way, because I never would have guessed that. And I bet you there's going to be so many women who listen to this and they're going to be like, what? I had no idea. So tell me, or tell like the listeners too, like, what helped you get to where you are today?
It's all the mindset. Health and fitness, like, you will, and like, this is across women I've met through your platform, my client experience, my friend. This is just like, you will learn these stories as you sit in this community and you learn about it. You start a fitness journey because something's kind of going wrong in your life, something's not right, and you are blaming it on your body or your food or your lack of movement. You're blaming it on one of those three things, and you start working on that, and that feels better, but it's not usually enough, because there's something else under that surface that's not quite right. But once you get in tune with your body and you start doing these things that start changing you at a cellular level, you can kind of figure out the things that you need to feel better. And what made the connection for me was signing up with your meditation programs, because you do beautiful guided meditations. You're a Reiki healer. I haven't done that with you, but like, working with you, it's very clear you're healing. And like, if you can find what it is that works for you and helps figure out why you're using whatever you're using to numb what's going on. So like, I guess for an example, I was stressed and feeling like I wasn't enough, and I had these big dreams and I wasn't reaching for them, and I was watching my husband be successful but not me. I never wanted to be just a mom, like, and that's kind of how I was feeling, becoming a mom. And it was all way too much to deal with. But through meditation, like, you can work through these issues one by one, and then you get to see the behaviors that you do that were suppressing the things you were suppressing. Like, when you're trying to bottle things up and just keep it all together, little bubbles of problem behavior will show up in your life. And for me, that's food, that's alcohol, that's isolating. You know, I'm sure this will speak to some women. Like, I won't hang out with my friends as much. I won't say yes to as many things. I'll want to just sit home and like smoke and eat. And that's not really the best thing to do. And I'll just want to drink the problems away sometimes. That one is not as big of a problem now that I am a mom, because I don't want to be hungover. But
it's the worst. Being a hungover and taking care of your kids is like the worst thing ever.
No, like, not even practical. So, yeah. But yeah, so the meditation helped me figure out the exact triggers and like these stored emotions that I had, these feelings towards things, letting go of like preconceived notions, like, you know, like diets don't work, you'll never be fixed of it. It's like, no, you can be fixed of whatever you believe you can be fixed of. And that's really what made the difference. And like, I still struggle, like food is still a crutch for me. You know, I don't know if it'll ever be like I eat 100% fine 100% of the time. I don't think so, because I really love sweets. But like, this week has been incredibly stressful, just with the amount of work we've had to get done, and our daughter's birthday's coming up, and like this, that, and like a bunch of little things. And it's like, man, the cookies, the candy, the ice cream, it's been showing up at the house, and I'm like, oh, and I've just like gone a little too hard on it sometimes. I'm like, you know what, this is fine. Like, I know that I'm using this for stress. I think that if I keep that in my consciousness, I can one day not use this for stress, but for now, this is what I need. And I know that I'm not going to spiral down the guilt shame cycle tomorrow. I'm going to eat my good breakfast because my body loves it. I'm going to try to do a little less of the cookies because my body doesn't love it as much as my mind does. And that's what needs to be kind of cured to cure your food relationship.
Yes. It's all about the mindset, and meet yourself where you are at every moment.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Like, it doesn't mean 100% good days. It's never going to be that way. You're always going to struggle with some things, but that's fine. It's not feeling bad for being human.
Exactly. Accepting where you are each and every day, and just like climbing that emotional ladder, and like allowing that journey to be joy, and allowing to just love the journey that you're on, and love who you are in each and every step. Even if you ate cookies for breakfast, you did it because even if your mind wanted it more than your body, you still did it, and for you, in a sense, you know. And so accept it and love it and move on.
Well, so there's this book, and like Eating in the Light of the Moon. Some of your clients will like,
one of my girlfriends is reading that, and she keeps telling me, like, you have to read this. This is your puzzle piece.
You have to read it. So, but basically, when you're really struggling and like you're using some sort of unhealthy behavior to like mask your emotions, and like with food, as we do, it's like you use that in a part of your life where you were probably so hurt, so raw, like you had nothing left. You couldn't have felt those emotions because you were in such a bad place. Like, you might not have been able to handle them. So you used food or something to numb that. And that's how you made it through, which is great. But now you need to learn like new techniques to swim past those like blockage. And it's not easy. Sometimes you're going to need to go back to those old behaviors when you're a little too overwhelmed because you can't deal with whatever. But that's okay. It's like getting that strength and courage to go a little further each time. Like, how far can I go without succumbing to this stuff that I'm trying to unshackle from myself, you know? And like, you get better and better. And because I've done this with fitness, like I couldn't do a push-up, like, and now I can do things upside down on my hands in yoga. Like, you know, I've seen my body do incredible things, and I'm seeing my mind start to do these things. So I'm like, okay, now I know I could do these things everywhere. Watch
Yes.
out.
Yes.
So that's when you can like internalize that. It'll all fit.
Absolutely.
As it's too.
I love that you brought up too that you need to like replace your habits with something positive, because it's so true. I talk with women all the time who tell me, you know, I finally like released this. You know, this has been so heavy and I've been having a hard time releasing it. I finally released it, and it's like, okay, so what are you going to put in place of that? You know,
yes.
How are you going to be sure that, like, you know, so there's something that you've always done to support you. You need something else to help support.
Yes. Sorry, the mail lady's here.
Oh,
we got some Amazon packages.
Nice. So, just one last question for you. What is your biggest advice for a woman who is struggling with her own body image and kind of, you know, just like using food as a means to deal with life?
Okay, so the very first thing is like surround yourself with some good body love, self-acceptance, something like that, so that you can start to embrace where you're at. Because if you can't be comfortable in the woman you are today, you can never be comfortable in the woman you'll want to be tomorrow. It's as simple as that, you know. So there's a ton of it. It's really in right now. There's like all sorts of organizations that you can like write letters to anonymously, like all sorts of things. So like, no excuses. Google exists. That's number one. Number two is like working on your mindset with food. What is food masking for you, and how are you manipulating food to distract from the true problems? Like, you need to make that connection or it won't fit. And after that is just learning some basic nutrition. There is, you know, myplate.org, which has a ton of information on how to just set up your plate, how to eat it, how to read a food label. These are all things you should know. You shouldn't be reading too many food labels, because most of your food needs to be whole food source. That means 5 ingredients or less, like a chicken, a carrot, an apple. Like, you know exactly what that looks like. It almost looks like as it does from nature. If you don't need to think about how many steps it took to make that, you're pretty much good to eat it. But other than that, you need to be informed on what you're eating, because you will be secretly eating just sugar, because our food system really is broken here in America. That's like a whole nother thing that to be tackled beyond the body image problems. We have a lot of problems, all right? Like, we have a lot of problems here. We're working on them. One coach, and then sign up with a community or a coach. Like, you need to. Don't expect to do this all by yourself. It's too much, and there's so many people out there willing to help you, and it's affordable. Like, please don't tell me money is the problem, because there's women who are giving it away for free. Like, there's sources, like sources for everyone and anyone at any level. Yeah,
YouTube is really great for that as well.
Oh yeah.
That's how I got into yoga, was YouTube. So
that, like, you can like renovate your whole house with YouTube. Whenever my husband really doesn't want to, he YouTubes it. Like, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, YouTube for everything.
Yeah, literally everything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, YouTube for everything. The kids know it. We just need to know it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and then the last thing is, how can women find you if they want to reach out to you?
Okay, so I'm on Psyche Fit Now here on Instagram. Me and Lauren are constantly tagging, posting each other. So just like, look, whoever's stalking Lauren, it's me. And I have my website and blog, which is psychefitnow.com. So those are the best ways.
Perfect. Yeah, and I'll go ahead and link those two in the description as well, so people can just.
Oh, wonderful! Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Any last minute words?
Just love yourself where you're at today, please. You know, there's no point in fighting yourself anymore. You deserve so much better.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, I love this. I can't wait. All right. Have a